Welcome to episode 3 of Libations and Conversation. We got one of our own, the great Jones in the building, most illustrious Jones.
Clap it up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you.
Hey, this is a good one here.
Yeah.
You know, we ain't many blessed with the gift of gab.
Yeah.
Like our brother. You hear me?
Yeah.
You give me too much credit.
No, you got all the credit, brother. Shit, it's well deserved too.
There you go. This is two of the founding members of Most Worship Over Our Grand Lodge who are still with us to this day. I don't consider too many people in life or masonry as my big brother. This man right here is. He's one of them.
I appreciate that, right?
I'll call him the philosopher.
Yeah.
Because he has a way of breaking things down and giving it to you with his style and grace.
Fast.
It will have you sitting Indian style with your mouth open. It's amazing.
Right.
He's the only man I know that is a speculative and an operative Mason. Most worship over our Grand Lodge AM's own Grand Senior Warden, the illustrious brother Eric Jones, 3309.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. You know I got to come with it first.
All right, come on, brother.
What possessed you to become a Master Mason? First of all, what year did you start in your travels of Masonry? And then on to the next.
So, forgive me if the gray hairs get in the way, but I believe it was 2006 of my pursuit, right? So, during my time in oil and gas, I traveled with a young 311, and I was always interested in the movement of masonry.
Okay. Before we go too far, what do you mean by 311? What is that?
So,
those that maybe don't know.
a PHL, Prince Hall Mason. Right.
Okay.
And so now the blessing for me is through the industry, I was surrounded by several Masons from several different letterings.
Right.
All the way from, if you're familiar with FAAMs, which is in the DMV area, Washington.
Okay.
And then AFAMs and your PHAs.
Okay, in Detroit, you said in the DMV area, period. What did those letters stand for?
Free, ancient, and accepted Masons.
Okay.
So, but I had an intimate connection with this particular brother, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to break through to the craft through him. But he allowed that door and that entry to continue on. Even though we didn't always have the best of communication in reference to the craft. That just made me want to investigate more and to break through more. You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers would probably, get disenchanted, get frustrated, and just stop. But it just wasn't in me.
When you was in the DMV area, what got led you down to Texas?
So, originally, I'm from Louisiana, and I grew up in Texas.
Right.
And so, what allowed me to be able to get initiated in the craft and subsequently raised in the craft was Derek had already started his travels, and because we worked in and around the continental United States.
5 months.
Right.
Yeah,
So whenever he was like, hey, as soon as you get back down, we gonna hit the lodge. I'm gonna introduce you to some people.
Okay.
And so he was able to couple me up with my cable tools, Brother Aaron, Brother Taylor, amongst a bunch of other brothers
No,
at
really?
that time. Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he ended up being able to, group us up together. Japhet, y'all know Japhet,
Yeah, right.
and multiple others. Y'all have to understand, when we was raised, it was almost 30 brothers. You know what I'm saying? That was able to bear that burden together.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
So in all 30 maybe?
Yeah. You know,
Like anybody-
now
That's a rare commodity.
that don't mean that that's how many started and how many got.
Okay.
You understand?
Right,
So,
right.
You know,
I
right.
can't imagine nobody putting in that much work.
Excuse the waving the fed, man. When they open the doors, they'll
Hey.
fly two guys in here.
Look, I always say, unfortunately, if you try to continue to strengthen your lodge, a flyer or two will get in.
Right.
So you have to be careful.
Yeah.
That's the philosophy.
Hey,
I told y'all.
he ain't lying.
You have to be careful.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's been pretty much around 20 years of travel,
Right.
and it's been a blessing all of the way because I get a chance to sit back and dwell in a place of goodness with brothers like yourselves,
Right.
and grow, learn, teach. I always tell people. In fact, I just told my biological brother yesterday, if you do it too much talking, you're not learning.
Right.
And,
Facts.
unfortunately, we enter our lodge with a lot of chatter. You know what I'm saying?
You know, my favorite thing called lip boxing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lip boxing going on, man.
And don't get me wrong, it's a lot of brothers that's well knowledge, well traveled, and they have certain things to say, and we all have our opportunity to speak and be patient enough, which is one of the virtues that you have to exemplify in becoming, a good brother. Right.
But then let me ask you about Old Coffee Street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to find out who did that today. I ain't gonna say no on camera, but I think you know.
I don't know what you mean. But what I do know is that it did what it was supposed to do because it stuck with you ever since. These are supposed to be travels that you never forget.
Hey, never forget. I never forget.
You said you still trying to find
I'm
out?
still trying to find out, man. So with your travels and the knowledge that you obtained from studying and walking through masonry and using it throughout your life, what's something that you feel like can help newer brothers that's coming into the craft, specifically at our Red Lodge?
So I'm real big campaign on morality. Each of your working tools at every level is supposed to be morally big advocate of morality and being moral cause. The only way that we really can gauge how we deal with each other is from a moral standpoint, right? If you won't do to your children as you would your brother, you can turn around and gauge whether or not you're right in those situations.
Right.
It's kind of scary about how some people will deal with their babies.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
most of the time, if you be like, if my kid was in that situation, this is how I would deal with him, then you're almost guaranteed that you will be proper towards your brothers. They'll tell you, you don't rest your head if you have a debt against your brother, right? A lot of us sleeping too good on how we dealing with each other, and we know we're not proper. So I really push that. I wrote a lecture several years ago about why masonry isn't as attractive as it once was.
Right. Right.
There's
what's a small take on that? Why it's not
I think
as attractive?
well, a lot of people get to a certain point, and if they get to the sign and the symbol,
Right.
then they good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The hunger is only there for so much,
Right.
and then they full, right? And when me and Graham was coming through, man, we was on the phone with each other, you know, like we was kids, like teenagers. You know, we was constantly, you know, turning over rocks, finding things. We was constantly having to redirect each other because it was so much information out there.
Right.
You heard me? And so, man, it was like we'd be studying on one thing, we might be studying in the fellow craft. The next thing you know, we had a whole nother degree.
Right.
You know, getting after information to where we'd have to reel each other back in and be like, well, hold on, that's not where we at.
Right.
You know, and so the beautiful thing about that is, like they tell you, iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
You know, us coming up, you know, that played against each other, turned around, and now we're not pushing, we're pulling in the same direction.
Facts.
And so you build a bond that's organic and it's unbreakable.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
That's key. And unbreakable bond, visible bond too.
And when people recognize how awesome that feels, then they hunger never get satisfied for the craft.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Because you steadily chasing that high, constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you hear about a particular subject matter, you reach a particular milestones, you know, you constantly, especially when you're doing it together. You know, unfortunately, again, you run into those that clout chase, and you know, this ain't the craft for you. You know, you can go join the Greek frat for that.
Right.
You heard me?
Right.
So in this one, again, you running with your cable toe, y'all pulling in the same direction at the same time. Because now if you turn around and leaving them, you dragging it.
Facts.
So
Facts.
understand that if you truly bought into the philosophy, if you truly understand the craft,
Right.
then
Right.
you forming that line all the way across where everything is level and everything is moving harmonically.
So you said
Harmonious.
you got to build a structured foundation.
Yeah. You
and
equally
stick
yoked.
with it
You equally
to
yoked.
be successful. DG has this term where he say he want to ask some softball questions.
Mhm.
So we go. I want to hear some of these softball questions that he came up with.
Shoot, you asked my first softball question.
But
That's why you got quiet, though.
hey, but let me tell you what's cool about that is y'all over here finishing each other's questions. Now, some people might look at that like stealing. But like-minded individuals, you know, look how many times people that sit down at these tables and they damn near looking at each other cross-eyed because of the stuff that they're asking, things that they want to know.
Yeah.
But y'all already on the same page with at the gate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you ain't gonna get probably two better brothers to run a query like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that y'all, you know, thinking like
I got something else for you.
okay,
So,
I didn't do it.
so when I first came to the lodge, what was your impression?
Man, let me tell you something. So, you know, me being heavily immersed, you know, in a military atmosphere, I was like, man, I want Chris to relax.
Right.
But
Right.
the whole thing was, some people mistake focus with stiff.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
He was focused. Man, when that brother came through and it was time to do what he needed to do to get to where he is, man, that dude broke that thing. I was like, oh, stop that boy. Stop that boy. You heard me? Hey, even Grandmaster Washington was sitting up. That dude danced up out the lodge, bro.
Yeah.
When I tell you that high step like he had just hit pay dirt.
Man on fire.
It was a beautiful situation,
Right.
and I really wish we could have shared that moment with everybody, just to let them see that we ain't trying to tell you to go copycat because everybody go, you know, get to that point,
Right.
you know, how they go and do it. But it was a certain level of beauty that where you might forget how everything transpired, but I'm not. You know what I mean? I was there to bear witness, and like I say, I said he is going to be a transcendent member of this craft.
Right.
You know, for as long as breath in his body.
Right.
Is what I thought.
Right.
And I have not been wrong. Period.
Still.
You know, and the thing is, and I want to couple this up with both of you brothers because, you know, we all have different travels and how we get to where we're going.
Right.
And the thing about it is, there's a lot of, you know, I tell brothers all of the time when it's their time to enter the craft, I'm like, there's a lot of brothers that's been here, way more than you see, way more than you'll ever see, way more than the membership within our Grand Lodge, our blue, you know, supporting the blue lodges and the whole nine. What do you intend on doing that will continue to have you here consistently? Like, and the thing is, if you're here for the wrong, it's not pure heart, then you'll be one of those people. You know, you'll be one of those people, understanding that whatever is intended for you will be, not because you're trying to push it, not because you're trying to push people out of the way to get to where you're going. Because understand this, the lodge as a collective see it, right? They'll turn around and sit over there and be like every misstep and every underhanded thing that brother is doing, we witnessing this in real time. And most of these brothers don't forget like that.
Right.
You know, so what you want to do again is just like y'all come in pure of heart. Anything that's meant for you will come to you. You know, and you have to be ready for when those positions come. You wasn't ready
at all.
You know what I'm saying? But the blessing was, man, you came out so strong on the opposite end. You know, of having to go through that trial by fire. You know, that was the greatest and best thing that could have happened to you.
It really was. Though,
you know,
and I was telling them that, like, when all of y'all asked me to get over in the East, it was just, man, I go home some nights, man, I call you. Be like, bro, I don't know. Like, you know, I need to come talk to you. I need to sit in the lab with you.
Yeah.
Long night sitting in front of that fire pit. I'm sitting there telling you, man, I don't want to do it. I'm tired of it. Calling DG, man. I want to put my hands on somebody. I can't get nobody on the phone. These brothers don't want to do right, man. But y'all kept me on that narrow path where that everybody can't do what you're doing. So just stick with it. Even when Bro Derek was out here and we all was out there, and I was telling him, he was like, man, give me one more year. That 1 year wind up being 2 more years. I'm like, man, you know. But I ran across something this morning, and it was, I don't know if it's a Prince Hall basis or whatever this situation happened. I want y'all to tell me what y'all think about this. It's an article out where this guy has stolen, their secretary has stolen $89,000 plus from them. And they send them to the judicial court right now. What makes a person that's been doing, because I obviously he's been traveling a long time, but they say, I guess, what do you think would cause a person to just go and just recklessly steal money from his organization?
As an adult,
right?
He was always a thief. The opportunity might not have been there for him to be able to perform those
or the pressure.
Right. You know, perform those criminal activities.
Yeah.
But very few people go back to that moral compass, right?
Right.
Very few people who are not thieves can be seduced into doing something they morally know is wrong.
Man, that's a lot of bread. That's a lot of chips. So,
and the thing is, again, it's just like if I say that, I have a drinking problem, I'm not drinking anymore.
Right.
But I still end up in a bar.
Right.
Or, you know,
Right.
I'm working at a liquor store.
Right.
You know,
Asking for fair.
yeah, so this dude probably had been good as long as he wasn't in a position to come
Those
across,
finances,
those
yeah.
funds.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put him in that position,
Yeah.
that mental state that was always there allowed him to be able to almost pitch a little bit off of it. Oh, I get a little bit more. Nobody's noticed anything. I'll double that this time.
Right.
Oh man, I just hit a lick.
Right.
But I'm gonna cool out a little bit because I don't want that attention to come to me. Now he's a strategic thief.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
He focuses on it.
yeah, but mentally, from an from a opportunity standpoint, he's always been a thief.
Right,
He just
right.
never capitalized on the opportunity.
Right. Right.
You know, so
and I was like, I just read this morning.
and the blessing for him is that they're going through it from a level of diplomacy.
Man.
You know, because old world, he would have just been taken out back.
Yeah, fact.
You know.
Like Caterpillar.
Oh, go ahead.
He decided to took his thunder, man. Sit over there looking like little Chris. Hey, he like that. I ain't got nothing to say, bro.
Remind me of on Inside the NBA. Charles Barkley. All goddamn safe, man. Hey, Shaq say it's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4.
3, 4.
1, 2, 3, back to 1.
This is,
My man, bro. You know y'all boys, man. So, you know, I get excited when I'm sitting down with y'all, man. So, it ain't for we just climb around, man. But for real though, with us moving forward and our 70s, we had that drastic change last year.
yeah.
With all the new brothers, new sisters, new blue lodges joining us. I was wondering, what do you think we can do to help continue the growth on the right path with all these different personalities coming into Obadiah?
I think that, you know, of course, you don't want to get into a position where you're flooding your lodge, you're flooding your leadership, but you have to have procedural policies in place to where, you know, these are the requirements, these are the expectations. Not meeting those expectations leads to this. Let's follow those procedures. Again, you can't thoroughly vet everybody coming into your lodge when you flooding the market with Masonic presence.
Right.
And so because you can't do that, you don't know if everybody who's coming in is mentally, spiritually, and emotionally where they're supposed to be.
Right.
You know, because your
Or gonna be that big for
Right.
what you have.
well, and the thing is, you know, your office might look real attractive to somebody.
Right.
You know, your seat might look real attractive to somebody. You know, and they haven't did their due diligence in their in their travels to be able to take that seat, because they don't understand the responsibilities, the trials and tribulations, the ebbs and flows of what comes with sitting in that seat.
Right.
You make it look good because you've
Right.
been sitting there successful at what you've been doing for as long. Plus, mentally, you handle certain situations with a tact and a dignity that some of them haven't achieved yet, but they think they can. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
And
man,
so,
you're sitting in this fire. It's hot, man.
so
it's hot.
you have these swim lanes that you have to maintain in order to get to these places.
Right.
You ain't coming off the street. I want that seat over there. What you gonna do is sit your ass down,
Right.
and you gonna wait your turn. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
these brothers been traveling for this long, and hell, have y'all didn't want the seats you got. You know, it was some unfortunate incidents. You know, a series of unfortunate events that led you to these places.
Right.
And again, it was a trial by fire.
And just our 3 of us sitting here alone, man, that's like 54 years of experience of travel within Masonry.
Right.
I know a lot of guys, they come in, they be hot, fire going, they ready, and I want to do everything and this and that, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. Trying to take on everything gonna burn you out.
Well, and
that's just not for me to observe.
So I think we just have to responsibly feed the hunger, you know, that they have, because again, and you're not telling somebody that they shouldn't be ambitious, but there's a process in order to get to certain places.
Right.
Now that energy you have, there's 1,000 things that need to be done. You know, all of the occupying of this building for middle chamber activities could be on that roof, repairing, you know, that roof upstairs.
Right.
It looked like we can do some repairs in the latrine area, right? You know, it's 1,000 things that we can do to make this experience that much better as a brotherhood. But you know, not one section, not one particular group's responsibility. Everybody that's available. And don't get me wrong, you know, as y'all know, I just graduated my last degree. So I understand. Hey, I appreciate it.
It's a blessing.
Hey, look, I needed them to take care of that business. But understanding that, you know, we have children, we have wives and lives outside of the lives or whatever, you know. But again, you know, you got a lot of people. I'm real big on paying for your opinion. We got a lot of people with a lot of opinions and they ain't paid no dues. You know, and I ain't talking about no monthly shit. I'm talking about getting in that some sweat equity. Some sweat equity. You know what I mean? And
total 500-pound logs.
Whatever is necessary. Whatever is necessary. It's well documented the work that we put in over the years. And so when you get in there down to the brass tacks of it, and you want to look at what you feel like you deserve, you can go back over there and be like, look, this year, you know, we was here, I was here, and here. That this particular year, I was here, here, and here. We got these things accomplished. Any of the volunteer.
Matter of fact, we say volunteer 2014 picture just popped up.
The Habitat for Humanity things over here. The Adopt a Highway things over here.
The community over here that we just got.
You know, whatever it be, it's a grocery list of things, right? And no, you're not gonna make it to all of them. But that don't mean you can't make it to none of them. You know what I'm saying? And so when you start to look at that, and man, these brothers taking account of all of that. They'd be like, man, this brother been 10 toes down ever since he showed up, and they haven't asked for anything. You can't show up off the street asking for shit at the gate. You heard me? You haven't done no work. You know?
And look, I know it's something on these minds. He's gonna spit it out, man. How they do here?
I'm just listening as y'all speak. You know, memories pop up.
You know, we get 24 hours to be able to do something Masonically every day. Every day. And I'm almost guaranteed that somewhere down the line, in 24 hours, we miss what we call moments of influence. You know what I'm saying? You know, they'll have somebody that'll get an opportunity, you know, to be charitable, whatever they want to do, and they just miss it. You know, they need the lights on. They need the camera on. They need they need somebody to witness. You know, instead of it being just in their heart to be able to go over there and do that. Exactly. And so circling back to why masonry isn't as attractive as it used to be, because it's for photo opportunities.
Man.
You know,
People
it's,
want to put on the regalia and
yeah.
and suit and look good for the
You
camera.
know,
but
it's for the light.
yeah,
You
no
know,
pure
and
essence involved in it.
back in the day, you used to be told that I should be able to recognize you in the dark.
Fact.
Right.
Right.
Brothers will be surrounded by other brothers in buildings and stuff. And as long as they ain't got no light on them, they don't recognize.
They don't know.
You know, it's either the brother that you're looking at ain't moving correctly, or you just don't you don't know how to
You know how to
recognize.
do the travel yet.
You know, he can slap a fire at you with a square compass,
Yeah.
and you still wouldn't recognize.
Right, right.
You know,
Right.
and so
They don't
it's,
see it in a dog really by.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's sad. Like I say, we as a craft have been getting clowned by other people of the craft
Mhm.
for these conjured up positions, these made up degrees,
Right, right.
and all of this other stuff.
Right.
And it's like, you know, stop the buffoonery, get back to what it was designed for, and walk the way that you
Earn your stuff.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, with that being said, in the mix of all that, what direction would you like to see the Grand Lodge going in these next few years or from now moving forward?
I think just foundational reinforcement. You know, the building can't stand if the foundation is weak. And
Right.
we have to get back to the basic strengthening of the Blue Lodges. You know, again,
Because it's not going to stand without pressure.
right. Again, you know, it's a lot of, you can't have a WM and a bunch of Judas with knives in their hands. You know, you're not gonna always like each other.
Man.
You're not gonna always. I'll give you an example. My wife manages a lot of clinics, right?
Mhm.
And so I always have to tell her, you know, you have to educate your managers. Don't stop apologizing for implementing policies.
Right.
This is your job.
Right.
This is what you take
It's
it
not
over.
personal. Yeah.
You know, if I come in and have to assess anything, what Grant said ain't got nothing to do with Grant. This is the policy.
Right.
I'm not putting it off on Grant and nobody else.
Right. Right.
If you got information you need to hear,
Mhm.
I'm delivering the information unapologetically.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, if I like it, you will never know it.
Right.
And if you like it, I need to never know it.
Right. Right.
Because right is right and wrong is wrong.
That's
You know what I'm
that's a true
saying?
statement.
Hey, most policies, most rules are written in blood. Somebody, it cost them something.
Right.
In order for us to have to realize that this is the issue, and we're gonna
We
address
gotta
the issue.
implement this and
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
where
we're
we
gonna
need-
address
yeah.
the issue. So, and again, it's a foundational thing, and I think that's where you start to teach your leaders.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people feel like they inherently are leaders,
Right.
and it's like when you're improperly trained as a leader, and you just feel like I do pretty good,
Yeah.
then it's going to create all kinds of havoc. Because as soon as you wrong, you're not going to want to hear nobody else tell you you wrong.
That's true.
But a great leader embraces being wrong. You
Right.
can't make thousands of decisions and gonna be right all 1,000 times.
Hey,
That is not the way that works.
Both of y'all got to be on the phone Clinton side telling me y'all wrong 8,000. You got to do
Well,
better this way. It ain't right. Yeah.
and understanding that that's not something people just sit around looking for, waiting
Right.
on people to mess up. But it'd be like, you know, just like when you're dealing with your people at the crib or whatever, I'm invested here.
Right.
I can't let you move forward knowing that you wasn't right in this
That's true.
situation.
That's true.
I don't get no joy in sitting there like, hey, you was wrong about
Yeah.
that. That's not what that's about.
But how would I learn if you don't tell me? And I think whoever sitting over there should have an open mind to when someone is correcting the wrong action within them.
Well, and
You can't just
sometimes
be
you have,
mad because somebody saying something to you.
we might have to go to train the trainers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Be able to get the WMs in the building at the same time and be like, hey,
This is my next question.
this is what we need to do, because again, if you tasked to be a judge over a court,
Right.
but you a piss poor judge,
Man.
you know, and stuff like that. You these can't be moving targets.
Right.
You can't be making up laws that don't exist.
Right.
You know, referencing them to books that we can go over and look at and see that you're wrong.
Right.
You know, it's again, we gotta stop the buffoonery and get back to what's right,
Right.
and not what feel good to you.
Right.
You
And
know,
we talking about the book.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know what
we
I'm
talking
saying?
about the lessons.
Yeah, you
Right.
know, it's in here. Well, you know what? It's easily referenced.